Ta-da!
Hello.
Hello, hello. How's it going?
Well, how's your week? You want to get started on tell me about your week?
Yeah, sure, totally. I finished up my work for a while and I'm going on break, so that was pretty awesome. That's a really good way to begin a week. Of course, this is a Thursday, so I guess it's the end of the week at this point, but yeah, whatever. How about you?
I don't ever get to quit work. um, but that's neither here nor there. I have picked up a new hobby, which is exciting. My birthday was not that long ago, and we celebrated Sunday, so I got a bunch of uh, uh like a bunch of beads for I don't know the technical term for it, but basically making cool designs in beads. And I have been lining the cuff of my jeans in beads, and wow, that is really time consuming. But it's a good thing. I think that fast fashion has made people appreciate their clothes less. And so I figure if I have to dedicate 4 hours to beating my jeans, that will
Um,
make me put more value on them.
yeah, I guess that would do that. 4 hours is a really long time, but I also feel like that's gonna be really loud in the dryer. But I don't know.
Well, I don't disagree with you. But to be fair, it's hard because this is exclusively audio. They are very small beads. It's which is why it has taken 4 hours. And I'm not finished yet. They are very small beads. So I don't think it'll be too noisy in the dryer. No different than I mean, the button on your jean is far bigger and noisier than these will be.
Okay. I mean, fair enough, but still, 4 hours seems like a lot of work. Do you do them with ripped up
And
jeans or?
no, it's a pair of jeans that they're actually really expensive. In comparison to how expensive I normally have. I got them at a thrift store. I think I got them for $3. And so I'm quite pumped about them. But they were the most plain jeans I've bought in a long time. But when you buy clothes from the thrift store, you don't really get to pick and choose, you know? And so I said, well, that's fine if they're boring. I'll make them more interesting.
Super nice. Yeah, I
Yeah,
um
I don't
I
know.
was gonna ask you actually about thrift stores because I know you're a thrifter. Um, are they actually a good way to save money, or are they kind of like a trap for people?
Uh, the answer is yes and no. Depends on a lot of things. You really have to have your head screwed on if you're going to do it, effectively. Don't go to Goodwill because why? I say that I did actually buy these jeans at Goodwill, so I can't but generally speaking, Goodwill, they have just like a bunch of junk that is well overpriced what the original value of what you're buying is, which is dumb. Especially if it's used because then it has less life left in it. And so if you're doing it exclusively for environmental reasons, then sure, go to Goodwill, I guess. But also Goodwill is not like a great company in the first place, so um
Yeah.
so and then you have to consider okay, what is the quality of these genes? How much life do they have left in them? Thankfully, in my case, they had a lot of life left in them. And these genes, I don't know, my guesstimate is they're like $60-$70 pairs of jeans. So
Wow.
I'm like, well, yeah, like fairly brand new for $3. That saved me a substantial amount. Um, but that's because I made a good choice. It's not always, I but also about a month ago, I bought a Hawaiian shirt that I would not have bought if I was at a store. So in that case, I spent more money than I normally would because I couldn't pass up the deal. It was a Hawaiian shirt that was, I think it was $3.50, that is 100% silk and is normally on average about $100. And I was like, well, I can't not. So in that case, I spent money I wouldn't have otherwise. But it's a great Hawaiian shirt. So
Okay, yeah. I've had that same effect whenever the Steam summer sale happens, and they'll be like, "All right, it's 95% off on games. You can buy a $60 game for like $5." I'm like, "Well, I guess I'll get 12." And then I still end up
that's
spending
fair.
$60. But I'll be honest with you, that's me being generous on myself. It's more like I'll see a bunch of games and then I find out that my shopping cart is like $150 when I was like, but it was just $5 games. And then I see that
Oh,
I'm gonna have to
that's
remove some
painful.
options. So yeah, I guess I could understand that side of it, where
Yeah.
it's you just see a good deal and you're like, well, I guess I'll spend the money I wouldn't have. I guess my only
Yeah.
question is a Hawaiian shirt that's silky, has it been worth it?
It has. It's also mostly because I'll tell you what, it was worth its money in joy and happiness that it has brought me. I'm so thrilled to have got such a steal of a deal, but also because I'm starting to consider that maybe you know, non-plastic clothes would be possibly better for my health. Um,
Ah, yeah.
which feels like a dumb sentence to be said out loud, but the research, man, I don't know, I'm starting to think maybe we shouldn't be wearing plastic clothes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's super fair. I've looked into the eating things out of plastic bins, and I definitely think that's probably one of the weird ones. I'm probably going to switch to a lot more glass
Oh,
things because that seems
boy.
kind of weird. But I really like Mountain Dew, and a lot of Mountain Dew comes in plastic, and that's probably a worse habit for me to have than eating things out of plastic. So
Yeah, I mean, everything's gonna kill us. Like, it's just a matter of time, you know? So I'm like, well,
yeah, so we should probably just smoke cigars, right?
I mean, hey, well, hey now, cigars are better for you than cigarettes.
This is what
So,
I saw
I
online,
mean,
but also couldn't. It was really weird trying to look that up. I was like, "Are cigars really bad for you?" And it was like, "Well, in a study done in the '70s." I'm like, well, okay, but surprise, surprise, there's not a lot of studies done on cigars. And then pipes apparently are like way better for you, theoretically. So
so
I think that
so as long
enables
as
my
you're
Mountain
Sherlock
Dew.
Holmes.
Yeah,
No, yeah,
yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah, no, I think that's how that works. Yeah, for Sherlock Holmes, then we won't get cancer.
He had other issues. He was a drug addict, which
Yeah,
I don't know if I don't know if the younger generation knows that. I think they've lost sight of the original Sherlock Holmes.
I mean the BBC Sherlock struggled with stuff, so
But I thought he mostly used nicotine patches. I thought correct me if I'm wrong. I thought that they mostly just only dwelled on the like nicotine aspect, not like hardcore drugs.
no, he woke up I don't want to get demonetized. He
I
woke up
remember what
in
your
a
yes
den of sorts.
situation. Yeah, I
um,
forgot about that.
so I'm going to assume there was more involved. We've really chosen a
Yeah,
series of really good, monetarily friendly first topics, and I didn't help.
well, that's okay. I don't think whatever. It is
It
what it
doesn't matter.
is.
The only it doesn't matter. But I was gonna ask, regarding the pins and the buttons and all that stuff. Would those melt in the wash if you have like a hot water setting, or are they like a different type of bead?
Well, it's a good question. I actually was just considering how the beads were made because I noticed that one of the beads I got, I noticed I was like, "Oh, like that's two beads stuck together." And I thought, "Oh, that's interesting." And then they broke off after I had already like sewn it on there and I was like, "Oh, like that's going to be a little messed up because now there's two beads where there's supposed to be one." And I thought oh, that's interesting. And then I came across another one that was like 3 or 4 beads all stuck together. And I thought, "Oh, I wonder if I can break this one apart so I don't mess it up like I messed up my other one." And it wouldn't break apart. And it got me thinking. I was like, "It looks kind of like it could be glass." Which I feel like would be hard to make really tiny glass beads, but I don't know. I am also not too worried about it because it's black jeans, so I don't intend to wash them with hot water. I almost never wash anything with hot water, which is why I had to ask our dad, who's really good at laundry. That sounds like a joke, but he really is good at laundry.
Mhm.
And I had to ask him, I was like, why does Tide have a commercial always talking about and save money on not using hot water for your laundry? I was like, who is using hot water on their laundry? What are we doing? And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
it is good to clean whites.
Yeah, it's good for
So I don't
certain
know.
things, but, like, not every time, and I'm, like, convinced I need to just start making my own Tide at this point, just because of how expensive it
I
is.
do. I
Yeah.
in fact do. I have a few different things that I do. I buy um there's a specific laundry detergent that is is standard to the Netherlands, which is this is so niche. Anyways, and in America it's really hard to find products from the Netherlands, but there's a lot of crossover between Latinos in Florida and products from the Netherlands, which is a very weird crossover. And so there's the Latino version of this Dutch soap that I use, and I mix it with other things. 10 out of 10 would recommend, but I would have to I would have to look it up to communicate more effectively what it is.
Super fair. I mean, I think a lot of it is, correct me if I'm wrong, baking soda and 90% like
Yes.
water, and then some
Yeah.
sort of soap, but like a very specific kind. It can't just be any soap. And then
Yeah.
that's about it.
Yeah, I would confirm. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I saved a box of Tide, and that's aside from the laundry detergent that I get from wherever, most of it is baking soda, Epsom salt, which is a weird one. And
Yeah.
then if you want like a fabric softener, vinegar is a good fabric softener.
Yeah. I actually do that.
Hey, nice. There you go. Vinegar is so useful for many a household thing. It's almost hard for us to keep it stocked with how much vinegar we use.
Yeah. And I use vinegar to clean out the AC drain line as well, because that has to be cleaned out pretty much every month here in Florida.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was thinking about that. You can do that and also fun tidbit. Now, this is a bit of a controversial take, so
oh.
I don't want to be responsible for air conditioning problems. But they're made of the same stuff that your pool's pipes are made of. And so you can use pool chlorine to clean out your pipes, the same as vinegar. Now again, I'm not
Yes.
responsible for any
But
problems.
the only issue is that your drain pan can rot.
Mm.
So your pipes would be
Well,
fine, but the AC unit is actually made of metal. And it turns out that our grandfather, our papa, did this,
he had the
and
same thought
then
process.
his roof started leaking,
Oh
and part
boy.
of his ceiling fell through because
Oh boy.
it turns out his drain had actually rotted through and his stuff flooded. So,
Wow, that's
um,
terrible. I'm gonna go promptly tell the person that I found this information out from that they should stop doing that then.
I mean, I mean, it could be okay. It's really dependent on your system, and it could be fine. You know?
Well, I mean it could be. Yeah, but I do think I should go back and tell that person. Cause she had like an old guy come out and look at her system. Like he's a professional and everything. And he's the one that was like, just do that, it'll be great. And she's like, okay, great. And it has been working great for her. But I
I mean,
do think
yeah,
I should let her know that that's
it can be
a choice.
fine. It just depends on what's used. Like bleach, I know you said chlorine, so it wouldn't be bleach. I know bleach is
Yeah.
definitely off limits. Chlorine, in theory, could
Interesting.
be fine, but you probably don't want to use it too often.
Huh.
That's all. But, like,
I have no idea how often she is versus doing it.
she's probably only doing it once a year, if that. She's probably only doing it when, like, the AC actively starts to clog up, in which case that's probably fine.
Fair
You
enough.
know?
Oh, along the same lines of things you shouldn't do that have been done, our papa, he told me the little thing that shoots water out from your windshield wipers, one of mine is clogged. Like I have two on the front. Um, and I was trying to figure out how to fix it, and I was thinking vinegar would fix it. And evidently our papa had tried that in the past and he said it ruined his windshield wipers. And he said not to do that. I was like,
Yeah, that's
cool,
really
solid.
unfortunate.
That was a thought I was having. And I'm really intrigued why vinegar broke it. Because I really do think it would fix my problems, but I'm gonna opt to trust him and not do it.
Yep.
But
Uh,
it's already broken, so I guess it doesn't matter.
yeah, but I guess you could make it worse. I don't know. I don't know anything
Yeah, I'm
about
like, I'm not.
cars. I
Next time something bad happens to my car, I plan on being like, if I remember, being like, hey, while you're in there, you want to see if this is an easy fix?
yeah, fair. I don't claim to know anything about cars. Now, motorcycles, I have some know-how on, as my motorcycle gives me trouble from time to time, and I have to fix
Oh
it and
boy,
take it apart. Not a bad thing, really. It's just kind of part of having a motorcycle,
that's kind
and
of
I have learned a
spooky.
lot. It's not when you're driving. It'll be like, I mean, it could be, but it's a lot easier to take apart because the engine's right there, right? Whereas with a car, you have to take apart stuff. So if there's something that's broken on the bike, it's like, well, okay, I see it, I unscrew it, I screw it back in, problem solved.
I mean,
It's
congratulations for being that capable. I would be terrified.
Well, it's a little mixture of using something called Google Lens and YouTube to make sure Google Lens isn't huffing the good stuff, because every now and
Hey,
then Google Lens will be like, "Ah, yeah, you should cross those wires right there." And you're like, I don't know about that. Let me let me go double check, and then like YouTube's like, just make sure the one thing you never do is cross those wires. And I'm like, okay, you know. I had a issue with
yeah.
my AC unit recently too, and it was like, "Ah, yeah, make sure you always definitely turn off the power to your whole house before working on this, or you could die." And I was like, "Oh, I'm 2 hours in doing this live, but you know."
Oh boy. Oh boy. That's
Yeah,
unfortunate, man. Oh boy.
it's
I see,
fine, you
this is
know.
why we don't blindly trust AI. In fact, we could just like not be using AI at all.
Yeah, pretty much. I
I
use
think
it
that's a better
to
life
see what
choice.
I use it to see what something is, because usually it's pretty good at that. Where I'm like, I'll have it take a picture. I'm like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And it's usually like, "Yeah, that's a chihuahua over there." It'll know pretty well.
See, don't say stuff like that because I fear that the youth are truly doing that. And I'm like, you're going to kill our environment. And for what? So you can find out that that's a chihuahua? I don't think so.
We don't really need water though, dude.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't.
it's only like what all living things are based off of, basically.
Yeah, and you're hogging some of the resources. You got some water you're drinking. Maybe you should contribute to the environment more, you know?
Hey, well, to be fair, I could be, and I'm not. You're correct that I could be.
Yeah.
It is
And
I if we're being for real, it is a thought that I've had that my pure existence is so detrimental to the environment and that sucks. And it is
yeah.
what it is because I intend to keep on living. So,
Yeah. In the
but it's
dystopian
okay.
future. Yeah, yeah.
I cut back on my cow intake, so we're doing good.
Hmm.
And I am indoctrinating my toddler with that information as well.
I see. But chicken nuggets are still on the table, right?
Of course, but also mostly because, dude, chickens are amazing. I have actually, in my want to better the environment, I've discovered how beautiful chickens are and how much I love them. They are so much better on the environment as a protein source, not to mention so much better for us. Like when people are like, "Oh, don't eat this or that," it's red meat. They're not saying don't eat chicken. No, like chicken nuggets are a little different than it's a little different, but like
Nah, I think you
neither
mean
here nor
chicken
there.
nuggets.
I'm super pro chicken. That's my main point. And if that sometimes means you're eating chicken nuggets, oh well, whatever. You're lying if you say you don't sometimes eat some chicken nuggets.
No, no. As a man that had chickens, no, yeah, I'm pretty pro chicken. Um, if only that's my one
Oh,
complaint about the place I live now is I can't have a little homestead set up where I have like a little farm and chickens. So I'll have to maybe go
you say
get some land
this.
somewhere.
You say this, but our papa also happens to live in that neighborhood and he did in fact have livestock in his garage.
Yes, this is true, but
Just think bigger, man. Just
we
just rip open your roof a little bit in the garage, make a skylight. Get
yeah.
those chickens.
Yeah, so what our papa had was a very small scale operation in comparison to what mine ended up being. Um, and I'll be honest with you, once chickens get big enough, see, our papa never had them get that big. Once chickens get big enough, they make noise. Um, and contrary to popular belief, they actually make quite a lot of noise no matter what time of day, for no
I
reason.
believe it.
Just because it's 3 in the morning, and you know what? It is time to start an argument over absolutely nothing. But I'll also say those chickens were mean. Some of my chickens definitely went for each other and like attacked each other.
Oh,
Sometimes,
that's
but
so
like for no
mean.
reason. Well, yeah, but also they didn't seem to care. They would huddle up together anyways, but then they would just fight and bicker.
So
They have a
just
ton of
sibling
space.
rivalry. Eh.
Yeah, but like sibling rivalry that definitely ended with there being fewer siblings. From time to time, which I would say is maybe not so much
Oh.
super happy, but chickens are
Yeah.
part of nature, so sometimes chickens are a little racist,
Oh
you
my
know?
gosh, was that well, yeah. I
Yeah,
see, I do think that there's something to be said that you did get like one of every chicken and you were like, "Yeah,
yes.
that'll be great."
And so they decided to waterboard the chicken that looked different from them,
Oh
which is
no.
unfortunate, but
That
did survive that
sucks.
incident though. But then stuff happened down the
Serious?
line. Yes, I rescued the chicken. Um, I resuscitated the
That's so
chicken,
terrible.
and it lived. It's actually one of the ones that ended up living, uh,
Oh
and is
man.
still alive. So there's that. Um, and then sometimes, what's crazy? You don't know certain things until you get animals. There's something literally called sudden chicken death syndrome.
Are you
It's just
serious?
yeah, it's just called sudden chicken death syndrome. It's just like, oh yeah, sometimes chickens just die. And I'm like, why? And they're like, sometimes they're born without, you know, things, or they just die. And I'm like, nah, dude, you gotta give me more reason. I'm like, did they freeze? Like, what happened? Nah. Sometimes there'll be like a weird way they looked at the sun and then they just kind of keel over and die.
Hey, you know what might be this I'm by no means am I recommending that you do this. I am certainly not. But I had a friend who had a kid, who I don't know how that works. But she was born very prematurely. So she's like older and healthy now, so like it's all fine.
Yeah.
But she was really concerned about SIDS, which is that, but with babies,
Yep.
which is really terrifying and awful. And she found out that like small hits of caffeine actually seems to be, they're still studying SIDS. They don't understand it. They don't know why that happens. Um, but there, I guess the way to phrase it is some research suggests that small hits of caffeine can actually prevent SIDS. So
Interesting.
there's a chance that maybe small amounts of caffeine for your chickens could maybe um help. I don't know.
I mean, we watched anime
It's
with them
weird.
and that seemed to work. So, I mean, we just held them and we watched anime and that worked out pretty well.
Well,
Um, Up until that
that's
point,
an odd sentence.
that is definitely odd, but it was effective. No more sudden chicken death syndrome after that.
Well, that's that's great.
Yep.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't. By the way, I'm no longer the owner of said chickens. I've given them to better, maybe more capable hands that hunger for chicken more than
Oh,
I do. Um,
I
but
certainly think Poppy will do a better job.
yeah, well, he used to actually be a chicken farmer, so and
Yeah, I
I will
had this
say
suspicion.
he was really happy because he said the chickens were like amazingly good. Like he was like they are really
Oh,
healthy. So I was like, that's great. So when I offered to give them to him, he was super excited because he said that usually when he was dealing with chickens, they weren't that healthy because they didn't eat very well. But mine were getting like top tier food and stuff like that. So he was super excited.
oh,
So
that's
I felt really
sweet.
happy
That
about that.
that makes me recall a silly back in the day, my brother and I used to live in the same house, which is the house that the chickens lived at. This was before chickens, but uh I had no one to turn to but Poppy to come help me get a bird out of our wall. And Poppy, for context, mostly 98% of the way speaks Spanish, and I 99% of the way speak English. I don't have a big vocabulary, and the only words I knew in Spanish were enough to tell him that there was a chicken in the wall. And not even a live chicken. The way I translated was like, "There's food chicken in the wall." And he looked at me like I had 2 heads, and I said, "I'm so sorry, but please come. Please help me." And he did, and he got the bird out, and I was very happy, but it's a
I have to
struggle.
say, he definitely speaks Spanish, but he also lacks the patience to listen. So it's not just that you're dealing with the language barrier. I've been studying a lot of Latin, not Latin, but Spanish over the last few years, and I've picked up on a ton of it from speaking it every day to some ability. And they'll be like, my students will be like, "Oh, you're doing great. You're learning, awesome." And obviously, it's still cringy and stuff like that. But they're like, "You have an accent now. Okay, cool." And then I go to talk to Pappy, and it's like, just, no, just stop. We're gonna instantly does not listen. It's just like
Oh
straight to Google
boy.
Translate. We're not even gonna try this.
Fair enough.
And I'm not learning Royal
Oh,
Spanish. I'm learning. Yes, the timer. Let me do that really quick.
yes, sorry.
Ah, there we go. We're back. Yeah, I'm learning Cuban Spanish. So, can't even say it's
Oh,
that I'm learning a different Spanish. No, I am learning Cuban and Venezuelan Spanish. So, like, he should, by every single metric, understand everything I'm saying. But he just does not assume that I can speak anything to do in the Spanish he understands. And so he just instantly doesn't listen. But he's a good guy. It is
that's
what it is.
amusing. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's very sweet, but that's funny. Yeah, I'm surprised that you're being hyper specific with what type of Spanish you're learning.
Well, a lot of my students are from Cuba. So it's sort of just, they tend to be the ones who I work with the most, so it just sort of happens. So Cubans and Venezuelans are like the main ones I'll learn from. And they seem to have things that get along, but then there will be things like muchia, where I'm like, ah, yes, muchia, a bag. And they're like, no. Or like the Cuban student will be like, yes. The Venezuelan student will be like, nah, that's weird. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Huh.
Or and some of them are like,
Weird.
it's not muchia, it's mushija. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Fair
I'm
enough.
learning.
I remember the first time that I learned that there was that much of a difference in Spanish was when I was a line cook, and one of my friends was like, "Oh, like stop talking about whatever I was talking about." And I said, "Oh, like how come?" He said, "Oh, cuz our coworkers are listening and they're like basically talking smack about it." And I was like, "Oh, okay, like I really was unbothered. I didn't care. I was like, fine. If you want to say mean things, like whatever." But I did ask him. I said, "Oh, like what are they saying?" He goes, "Oh, I don't know." And I said, "What do you mean you don't know? Like you just like you just told me." He goes, "Well, yeah." He goes, "Like yes, we speak Spanish." But he was from Guatemala and they were from someplace else that was not Guatemala. I'm blanking on where they're from. And I didn't realize that it was that different. He's like, "Yeah, like I understand enough words to know that they're saying mean things, but not enough to like actually, put together sentences."
Yeah.
But
Okay. Super fair. Well,
anyways,
I
do
wanted to
you
ask
have a
you about
book?
movies. Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
So we didn't plan this in advance. I was like, I know we're going to talk about books and movies. Um, I can go first if you want.
It's up to you. I'm content either or.
Yeah, sure. I can make it pretty quick too. Um, so recently I started a book club and got a lot of people involved, and more people are joining and reading different books, and I gave them a few different options. So the first book we're reading is Red Rising, and yes, I know that's like saying the equivalent of being like, I'm going to read, and then you say, I'm reading the Superman comics. Okay, I get it. But it's basically Rick Riordan for adults, like Percy
Oh,
Jackson,
okay.
right? It's fun, it's dark, it's interesting, it's kind of like a power fantasy, and that's what we decided with because every time I got to that book in the discussion, everyone immediately bought it and then wanted to read it. So we're almost done with that. And that one's been good. Kind of reminds me of like Hunger Games with Romans, and it's been interesting with a little bit of cyberpunk in it. But I'm about 30 pages away from being done with the first book. Read most of the book in 2 days, as you do. But it's been good. I've enjoyed it. And the other book I read, and then I'm going to pass the baton to you so we can hear about the movies. I read a John Steinbeck book, and that's the book, well, I regret reading.
Oh no.
Red Rising has been fun. You know, if you want to go read something and you're grown up and you can handle some tough topics, feel free to go read Red Rising and just go have fun. Game of Thrones type stuff. You
Oh
wanna
wow.
you
That's
wanna
intense.
remember? Yeah, no, it's like except a lot less. It's more of the violent side of it, not the family
Less
intercourse
incest.
side of it. Yeah, correct.
Yes. Well, all things in moderation.
Yeah, of course. When it comes to specifically John Steinbeck, The Winter of Our Discontent, um, it's about the futility of life, and I guess you might as well just give up. And that's
Oh
about
boy.
it. And I thought there was gonna be like a twist. I'm gonna go ahead and spoil the book. The ending, he concludes that life is not worth living. And decides that he's
Wow,
gonna
that
try
sucks.
to just not. He's gonna try to do sudden chicken death syndrome.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
in the
That's so
water
not an
of the
appropriate way
ocean.
to say that. Oh
um,
boy.
for
Okay.
himself, It's a little depressing, but then he decides not to. So to be clear, by the way, that's
Okay.
basically could be the whole book. I could say he thought about doing a thing and then he decided not to. And that would be the book. He thought about getting ahead in life, and then he kind of realized that he was content with his family. And then he thought about how it would be cool if his kid was super successful and won this like super big essay thing to win money and fame. And then he decided that that wasn't going to work out. That's not really what happened exactly, but doesn't matter. He decided he was going to perform a bank heist. He gets all hyped. He sets everything up, and then he doesn't. And then
Wow.
the one thing he commits to is calling immigration services on his boss.
Oh no.
And then his boss thought he was such a good guy, so the boss gives him the grocery store. Because he's like, "You're the only
What?
kind man I've ever met."
I'm so
Meanwhile,
concerned. Please tell me. I need to know. Is this fiction? Is this like
yeah,
what?
this
Please
is
tell me this is
fiction.
fiction.
I think.
Okay, thank goodness.
I
Like
mean,
I'm
it's
I'm really
loosely based on a true
disappointed.
story.
Oh boy. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm disappointed in whatever author thought that this was good fiction, but
Hey,
I'm still thankful.
won a Nobel Peace Prize for this actually.
What? For this book?
For this book, yeah. I
Wow,
know
is
that
that the
like
reason why you read it?
yeah, that's why I read it because I was like, wow, he won a Nobel Peace Prize for this book. And they're like, man, this
Wow.
guy from California back in the 1930s, he wrote a book that's so relatable today. And I'm
What?
like, I don't know, man.
No!
But to be
That's
fair, I guess it kind of is in that like immigration services are a thing, especially right
well,
now, like all sorts of stuff.
I
So I regret reading
man,
that one.
dude.
Sorry for the depression, but hopefully your topic is a lot more lighthearted and happy. And I'm reading a fun book next week, so I'll have happy-go-lucky thoughts. Thank you for
I
listening to
would
my
hope
TED Talk.
so. Ah, yes. Well, hey, speaking of our political climate, you know what also talks about immigration shenanigans is Casablanca. Um I've decided with this podcast I intend to let y'all know my opinion of classic movies, not classic movies outright. What I deem to be classic movies. So just, in case anyone gets huffy and puffy with a choice of movie that I have in the future, um, just know it's my definition of classics. Um, but yeah, I've managed to live to I am officially now 27 and I have never fully watched Casablanca. Our father had shown me the scene where they're, in their bar talking about music and saying, "Oh, follow the bars. She walked into mine." Which side note, this poor piano guy. I gotta get into this. They do not treat this like they set this up as like this piano guy is like dear to these two people and they love him and he's important and the guy who owns the bar, him and this guy, they travel together from Paris to Casablanca, and so you would think they care about this guy a lot, that's the basis that they're setting. They don't treat him like a person.
Yeah,
They
no.
don't. they're they're constantly going back and forth and they harass him with this stupid song. Like, they're both all emotional and sad, and they're like, "Play the song." And they're not like, "Oh, could you please play this song for me?" Like, they are just like, "You play this song for me now." And he'll be like, "Oh, but, and they're like, "No, do it now, because I said to do it now. Please and thank you." Not really please and thank you, actually just do it. Um, and I'm like, "Wow, okay. So much for this poor Sam, the piano player." Obviously, this is me being dramatic about it. They're a little bit nicer to Sam than that, but, you know. Um, so yeah, so Casablanca, full transparency, Andrew, I expected to hate it.
Oh, well, I mean that's fair if you don't know anything about it. And, it's a black and white movie. I could see you being like,
That's
"Oh,
the
no, I wouldn't
thing.
like it."
Have you watched it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So then okay, great. I just
Did
wanted
you
to know
watch?
where we were at with that.
Did you watch it in color or black and white? By the way,
Oh, definitely black and white. Does it even come in color?
it does. It looks weird.
Is it like I'm confused.
Yeah, I also am confused. It's yeah. Sorry to get you off track. You
Okay.
continue.
No, you're so good. So yeah, my attention span not always the best. I did take notes while watching it because I wanted to stay on task. I wanted to keep things straight, which man, I'm so glad I did that because the ending really threw me for a loop. I was like, "Hold on, who's doing what?" Also, I regret to inform you of this one. I only figured out 80% way through the movie what the letters what value they had. I was just like I was not paying enough attention when that guy was trying to sell him the letters or whatever. I just
Yeah,
was like, I don't know what's going on here. Oh, I never tied this in as to how it as to how it pertains to immigration. For anyone who hasn't seen Casablanca, which I would assume anyone listening to this has, but in case you haven't, there's a bunch of Germans around. This is what is this is at the end of World War II, correct? Or
I
no?
believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so, it's like not looking so great.
Hmm.
People don't really like the Germans for obvious reasons. And so the Germans, the biggest issue for the main characters, primarily is that the Germans invaded Paris, and so it was a long trek for people that were in Europe that were trying to get to anywheres other than there. And Casablanca, the way the movie sets it up is like Casablanca was kind of like um the last place to leave to get to, hopefully safety. And so it was interesting seeing like so many different cultures all in one place. And I don't know, I thought it was really interesting. And I did enjoy a lot of the music that they had in Casablanca. And I enjoyed that sporadically. Sometimes they would just like hop into a different language because they felt like it, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and I think teenage me would have been like, "This is dumb. Can we get some captions in here or something?" Um, but as an adult, I appreciated it. Like, yes, I do wish I was watching it with some people that could translate it for me because, I am curious. Sometimes when they were speaking in French, I was like, "Oh, okay, I do understand those words." But the German, German's not my strong suit, I'll tell you what. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised with how interesting it was. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it other than it was just oh, sorry. I looked at my notes and I remembered what I wanted to say
Yeah, for
specifically.
sure.
It reminds me of it reminded me a lot of the westerns that our papa watches all the time.
Mm.
Um in the sense that like there's exciting stuff going on, there's some intense conversations, inevitably they're in a bar, somebody gets shot. Oh man,
Hmm.
and there's pretty women and music and like it really does remind me of like a western that he would have on. And the thing that I'm intrigued on and curious if you have an opinion on it is like I do believe that the general population views Casablanca as a classic. And if it's I'm wondering if it's just because like for one, and I do not mean this offensively, there just wasn't as much content to watch back in the day. And so things were so much more impactful because there just wasn't as much content to like, distract people and pull our attentions away like we do now. But also I've noticed that it seems as though monumental movies back in the day they they had to do with like the political climate
Oh
and
yeah.
The only other movie I can think of off the top of my head right now that is like that is, The Sound of Music, which is a very funny connection to draw, but, they're both very influential movies when they came out, and they both don't like Germans.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It seems
I mean,
interesting.
yeah, definitely. I mean, there's actually three movies that are loosely in that time period that are very important to understanding that time period. Casablanca, The Sound of Music, and The Rise of the Potomac are three really
Hmm.
important movies that show you that politics is a big thing. Part of the reason Casablanca was received so well is due to the fact that we're talking about a time period where many homes, one in three homes, have one or more people that have just come back from World War II or being involved with the military in some capacity. You have women who've been serving in factories. So most homes know somebody or are impacted directly by someone who's suffering from some form of PTSD. And
Hmm.
in that climate, the thing that became really popular was ideas of what romance are and like home life and calmness, but the chaos despite it all, because that tended to be the most interesting. In the worlds of nuclear submarines, do you know what the most popular movie was for like 2 decades? It was
Are
The
you
Sound
gonna
of
say
Music.
Casablanca?
It was The Sound
Oh,
of
okay.
Music. You would expect it to be something else, but it turns out The Sound of Music for just such a long time. I say for 2 decades because, it's just something that hit where they would sing along and things like that. And these are like grown men serving in a nuclear submarine going under for months, right? 4 to 8 months or something like that. Something crazy. And they're watching that. And they have other like shooter movies and westerns and stuff, but Sound of Music keeps on coming back because it's this
Huh.
idea of what family life could be. And a lot of them did not have it, right? You think about like Star
Hmm.
Wars. Why is Star Wars so impactful? And why is it kind of famous? Well, you look at the climate it came out in, right? Everything was dark. You got people coming out here that are like, "You feeling lucky, punk?" And then you got Star Wars, which is like, "Well, the good guy wins." Oh, that's unheard of. Like, it's, and I know that might seem like an obvious thing, but you go from people going from Casablanca, struggling with PTSD,
Yeah.
turning to drugs. That really
Oh
did
boy.
happen. And
Yeah.
that kind of changes the way movies went to then their children and their children's children saying, "Hey, we didn't suffer from these things, but we grew up in households where parents suffered from these things and grandparents suffered from things. We have a lot more hope." And so Casablanca is that weird time slot where everybody just made it home. Nobody has studied PTSD in any real fashion. And people really resonate with this movie because it's tackling the idea of war is messing with the relationship and how people are struggling to make things work. And it's it's kind of talking about what most men and women are going through at that time, which is they separated and now they have to like fall back in love. They have to kind of discover each other again because that happened to many American families. And Casablanca was that uniting factor of men and women were like, "Oh yeah, okay. I can I can see that this thing I'm struggling with my significant other, this is a thing that's happening everywhere."
Hmm.
But we haven't experienced
Interesting.
anything quite to that scale ever since, where you have like so many people leave. We had Vietnam, we had all sorts of stuff, but never to that scale. So that's a huge part of Casablanca's history and
Hmm.
part of why it's so impactful. It's just its time frame. As far as the movie goes itself, you know, I don't have anything against it. I don't like feel like it's a movie people have to go and watch per se necessarily, but I think it is important to the landscape of films, and it kind of dictates how things are going to go for the next 10 years after it as well. So yeah.
Fair enough. I agree. Like I don't think it's like a must watch, oh you have to, whatever. But I was pleasantly surprised and I appreciated that I enjoyed it. I think certain movies are easier. Like, I do think The Sound of Music is a much easier watch.
Yeah.
Even dude, even my toddler whose attention span is, could be further developed, he unironically loves The Sound of Music, which I think is really funny. Well, okay, with the caveat that he doesn't know it technically has a spooky part. We just end it before it gets spooky. Which is fine because I
Ah.
too don't want I like a happy ending, and I know it does have a happy ending. But I don't like the spooky part, and he certainly wouldn't either, so he doesn't know. He's watched, like, 85% of the movie, and that's good enough. But yeah, anyways, I do think it would be important, like, obviously, if you're a film major or something. But yeah, if you haven't watched it and, you're open-minded to these things, I do think it's certainly worth a watch.
Oh yeah. I mean, have you ever seen Rise of the Potomac? I mentioned that a while ago.
No. Yeah, you mentioned it, and I tried to Google it, and I forgot the word Potomac.
Yeah. I think I'm saying that right. That one's if you're watching classic movies, I don't know if you necessarily like that one, but that one shows you Soviet Union shenanigans. That one
Hmm,
was like
interesting.
propaganda, if you will. So that one's really bizarre, but it's interesting to think about them all kind of coming out in the same time period. I say that, and somebody's gonna be like, they're 20 years apart or something, but
Oh, whatever.
in
That doesn't matter.
film
I'm
back then, yeah. Go ahead.
no, go for it. I was just gonna say I'm intrigued to watch it.
It's definitely interesting. Probably the most interesting thing is one individual that every time people watch Rise of the Potomac, they're like, "Oh, that dude was crazy." And it's basically a documentary, by the way. Um,
Oh, okay.
it's not it's not that long either, from what I recall. I feel like it's 40 minutes or something.
Oh,
I
that's
I
yeah,
think
that's an easy watch.
I think there are better things you could watch as far as classics go, but if you want like kind of contextual understanding of things that were coming out at the same time as Casablanca, if you watch that, you'll understand why Casablanca just stands out all the more. Because Rise of the Potomac is like probably the most important thing to Russia at that time, versus Casablanca being one of the most important things to America at that time.
Fair
Um,
enough. Well,
and
and I knew that there was historical importance to, like, why Casablanca was the movie that it is today. But I didn't wanna go into it watching it with that context because I was like, "Well, of course, like, if anyone gets the chance to argue their side, I can always be swayed at least a little bit, even if not fully swayed." And I didn't want that. I didn't want someone to have to, like, speak up for this movie and explain to me why it's so good or isn't. I was like, "No, like, I wanna watch this and see if it is actually worth, what everyone says it is without the context." Because I was like, well, like, I feel like it's like art. Like, so many people tell us, "Oh, you have to love this art because it's just like because it's good and we told you it is." And I'm like,
yeah,
"No, I want to consider if it's really good and I say it is really good, but
yeah.
without context."
That's super fair. I'm the guy of context. I'm a teacher, so I guess
Yeah.
I s- I'm like, oh, context. I'm in. It's
Well, and I'm not mad at context after the fact. Like, that's fine. And to be honest, I did have to look up a smidge bit. Originally, I wasn't gonna look anything up about the movie, but then after I watched it, I did have to look up 1 or 2 clarifying, details.
yeah, super fair. Well, yeah, it makes sense to me. I was thinking about it. I was trying to think of our modern day Casablanca, and it's really weird. I think it's a video game. Um,
Really?
Yeah, our modern day Casablanca that had such an impact, sold a lot of copies, is Animal Crossing back in 2020
Uh,
because
yeah.
you had a certain thing hit that we can't say by name, even though we've said sudden chicken death syndrome, and that's probably triggered everybody. But there was a certain thing that was going around everywhere in 2020. and Animal Crossing came out, and Doom came out right next to each other.
Yeah.
It's sort of like Barbie and
Uh,
Oppenheimer. Um,
yeah.
it was like the perfect launch time, and Animal Crossing shot up to like one of the most high. It was the highest grossing game on Switch, if I recall, if not Mario Kart. But it was like shocking, where it was like, oh, and now there's more people who have bought Animal Crossing than Minecraft all of a sudden. Something insane. And you're like, what? Like in a matter of like minutes, and suddenly everybody's playing it. Presidential candidates are uploading their islands of Animal Crossing and stuff, and you're like, what is going on? Um,
I'm
and I
sure that
know,
was Obama.
yeah, I think it was Hillary Clinton too.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Yeah,
Wow. I only expect Obama to be cool like that.
no, it was a lot of people were doing stuff.
That's
Of course, Hillary
crazy.
Clinton and Donald Trump have Minecraft worlds, which, if you've never
Oh,
seen them,
boy.
definitely worth looking into. Just look up a
I'm
YouTube
curious.
video. Um,
Oh, no.
but I will say, the Animal Crossing game itself is not my cup of tea. Like, I don't really like it
Really?
that
But
much. I
you
played
were
it with
playing
mom.
it at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I didn't really like it very much.
Uh,
It's
you just liked
hugely
hanging out with
impactful.
her.
Yeah, correct. It's very
That's sweet.
impactful, and like pop culture reacts to it. But it doesn't mean you're necessarily gonna like it. If you're going through classic movies, you're gonna find things where like you can understand the context of them after the fact, but you watch it and you're like, I don't understand why this is so famous. And like you play Animal Crossing, and like some people are like, "How dare you say anything against Animal Crossing? I will find you and your family." There are people like that. Don't get me wrong. But I also understand that without that context, it's just sort of like, well, this is a cozy game. Why did this sell how many millions?
Oh, a
It
good
made
context
billions.
for that would also be what musical instrument was it that skyrocketed during COVID? Was it tambourines or something?
I don't know.
You missed the context. Oh, for shame. PewDiePie, he
Not the
I don't know
kazoo.
why.
Was it a
I think
kazoo?
it was tambourines, I thought.
Oh yeah, that's right. That did happen.
Yeah,
But
and like there
we
was
also
a
had
skyrocket
Tamagotchi.
of no, I mean maybe, but more specifically, it was amusing because not that many people buy tambourines and there was a large spike in sales. Oh no, our second timer is about to go off.
Yep. All right, there we go. We have to keep pausing and starting our recording. It's weird. But yeah, tambourines, you were
Yeah.
saying. That's interesting. I didn't know there was a big spike of tambourines, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, there was. He made a big deal about it. It's kind of like when he did the floor gang thing. Like it just I don't know. And he himself, I don't remember if fans were sending him tambourines or if he just personally bought this many tambourines, but he started stacking them to like his height in videos. It was a it was a whole thing. And he influenced others to be buying tambourines for themselves as well.
That's funny. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. But anyways, I suppose we should wrap this up so it's not horrendously long.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, congratulations on listening to the first episode, the session 0 of the podcast. Um, Please send all your money to my sister. Um, I think we've
Oh,
gotten far enough that you're legally obligated to give us cash. Monetary transactions are required for further listening of the podcast. It is gated by money. Go ahead.
mm-hmm. I was just gonna say now would be a great time to introduce ourselves since we didn't do that at the beginning.
Yeah, because that would be for nerds. Go ahead.
Well, my name is Ashley, but I do prefer to go by Ash. But my brother is allowed to call me whatever he wants.
All right. And
Did you
I
want to introduce
am.
yourself? Sorry.
I was unsure if you were gonna go into a whole thing and be like, "I'm Ashley. I go by the title of chef, and
Uh,
I don't know. I thought you were gonna give like more of your history,
okay,
but you
sorry.
don't
My
have
apologies.
to.
Okay,
I
fine.
mean, that can be a
No,
reveal
you
for
get
the
to know
future.
more.
I've spoiled
Oh, okay,
already so
fine.
much.
Yeah, at the beginning of this, I hinted at what my job was when I said that I can never quit my job. So in the next episode, you get to find out what my job is. You don't get to know right now.
There you go. Dope. I'm Andrew. I'm her brother. I'm here to cause chaos and talk about sudden chicken death syndrome as many times as possible in an episode. I probably won't be depressing all the time, but sometimes a little depression never hurt anybody. But I am a teacher, so I'm spoiling that right away. And I wear a
Darn.
lot of hats. I do a lot of different things. Um, and I guess you kind of find out as we go if it comes up, because I'm sure random stuff will come up. My cat is currently scratching at my door viciously, as he hasn't received his food yet, and he wants me to know that
You're
he is starving to death.
starving your cat?
Oh, yep,
Oh,
it's really sad. Even though the vet says that he's a perfect weight, he's starving to death.
oh well.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Cool. Well, you guys can feel free to guess in the comments which one of us is the older sibling and which one of us is the younger one.
yeah, for sure. But if you get it wrong, you're banned. If you get it wrong, you're banned and you're never invited back. I'm gonna go to the comment section. I'm gonna dislike your comment if you're wrong.
Oh
Um,
no.
but I'm gonna
We
dislike
can't afford to lose any
50%
listeners.
regardless. No, it's just engagement, right? Please dislike this video instead of liking it. It really helps us with the algorithm. We would like a bunch of haters instead of fans, so that way we can roast the haters. So please don't like the
Such a
video.
healthy.
Please don't subscribe. We don't want you here anyways.
Well, guess what? You can't subscribe to podcasts, and it's not a video, so you can't dislike it, even if you wanted to.
Well, maybe we should fix that. We need to
And
enable a
with that
dislike
note,
button.
we will talk to you next week, I guess.
All right. Adios.
Bye.